From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Good evening, everyone. Well, as expected, we did see a lot of that thunderstorm activity making its way, especially into Siskiyou and Modoc counties. There you can see all of the lightning strikes, a lot of lightning strikes, but also some heavy rainfall associated with these thunderstorms, and not to mention some hail. There's severe thunderstorm warning this afternoon in southwestern portions of Siskiyou County, which impacted around the Etna area, as a matter of fact. Also, some pretty strong thunderstorms in southern Trinity County, working their way into southeastern Humboldt County as well. All generally moving to the west, northwest a little bit here. And so, as expected, this is where most of the activity was, off into Siskiyou and Modoc County. If you watch my morning forecast, this is where the main focus was for any thunderstorm development, and that's essentially what happened. Now, a little bit of surprise to me was the activity we did see in southwestern Trinity County, just south and southwest of Ruth here, and making its way into southeastern portions of Humboldt County as well. So Garberville, of course, maybe seeing some showers here this evening. All right, so here's what's going on. We've got those mountain thunderstorms at least through Wednesday. Today was just the beginning. We've got more for your Tuesday, even your Wednesday, and possibly even into Thursday. Now, the valley is not entirely out of the question to maybe see some activity, and I'm seeing some of that potential by around Wednesday, but nothing guaranteed at this point. Also, there is going to be continued threat for that dry lightning as we saw today. And it is going to be hot, but at least we expect those temperatures to drop as we get closer to your 4th of July. So isn't that nice? Let's take a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Monday, June 30th. Now, for tonight, we could see some showers developing for parts of Trinity County, maybe a few showers kind of coming in from southeast to the northwest through the overnight hours. So even the valley could see some activity, but otherwise, another very mild night in store for us, in the low 70s for the valley and generally in the 50s for the higher elevations. So out the door tomorrow morning, there you can see the valley looking fairly dry. Now, I do have a slight chance in there for some showers there for places like Trinity County, as a sweet disturbance may push through, giving parts of Trinity County maybe a chance for a stray shower early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, mainly clear skies here and dry conditions to start off the day before we see that next round of thunderstorms. So there's an area of low pressure down to our south. There's monsoon moisture off to our east. This low pressure system is tapping into that monsoon moisture, and that is the source for the thunderstorms, that moisture source for the thunderstorms that we saw today and will see again over the next couple of days. So let's take you into tonight. There you can see this weak disturbance pushing through. So as we go into midnight, so late tonight, early tomorrow morning, it's going to push through the valley. Everyone in the valley could say you see a stray sprinkle, maybe a light shower, but I don't anticipate any thunderstorms for the valley tonight. And there could be a stray thunderstorm late tonight, early tomorrow morning for parts of Trinity County. Otherwise, just some showers there, and that is going to make its way into central and southern Humboldt County as well. Then that main disturbance will kind of widespread across the region. It's just a chance for a few scattered showers midday on Tuesday, especially once again for parts of Trinity County, western Siskiyou, Del Norte, Humboldt, and maybe even northwestern parts of Shasta County as well. But overall, not that active just yet. Then we start to see that afternoon convection on Tuesday, and we're seeing again that rotation around the area of low pressure, tapping into that monsoon moisture, and that's what's giving us more thunderstorms. Now, it's not just going to be much like what we saw today in Siskiyou and Modoc County, but I think parts of the eastern mountains, parts of Trinity County could see some activity, and as well as Del Norte and maybe even Humboldt counties as well. So there you can see, this is where we have a red flag warning. Now, it's not essentially just because of the winds and the very dry conditions, but the potential for dry lightning once again for your Tuesday. All right, so here's what we have in store for you on your Tuesday. It's still going to be hot in the valley with temperatures around 100 degrees or slightly warmer, 80s and 90s for the higher elevations. You'll see a lot of lightning strikes in the higher elevations because pretty much all of the mountain locations have a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Chances may be slimmer inland, but your chances are there nonetheless. And there you can see for the coast, looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies with temperatures there in the low to mid 60s. All right, so let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the valley. You can see, of course, these temperatures will peak on Wednesday, still a little over 100 degrees. But we see a slight drop going into Thursday and for your 4th of July. So we're going to drop things off. It's going to be more bearable as far as the heat is concerned for your 4th of July before temperatures start to go back up over the weekend, but most likely just dodging that triple-digit mark for Redding and especially down south into Chico and Red Bluff. All right, so for the coast, yeah, we may see some isolated showers tomorrow, and then Wednesday, Thursday, generally looking at low to mid-60s for those daytime highs. Now, there could be some isolated activity inland and maybe even Wednesday, but for Trinity County, for both Tuesday, Wednesday, a chance for thunderstorms, and then by Thursday into Friday, looks like those chances will start to diminish. Now, that may linger into Thursday for places like Siskiyou and Modoc counties, but I really think overall, once we get past Wednesday, most of the mountains should remain thunderstorm free by the time we get into Thursday. However, as I mentioned, Siskiyou and Modoc County still have that lingering chance on Thursday. Hey, by the way, just want to remind you that you can watch the 24-hour streaming channel from Roku, Fire Stick, from weathernorcal.com, the free Weather NorCal app, and anywhere YouTube is available, including your smart TV. Just search for the Weather NorCal YouTube channel. You can watch the 24-hour streaming channel and on demand watch the latest video forecast. So be sure to check that out. All right, that was a look at Krueger's Quickcast. Now let's get into your fire weather forecast. And as mentioned, we do have this red flag warning, essentially because we have that potential to see dry lightning strikes with these thunderstorms when they move through. Now, what I find interesting is that Modoc and Lassen and even eastern Plumas County are not part of this, but there could be some lightning strikes there as well. So just bear in mind that pretty much all of the mountain locations have that potential to see dry lightning strikes. Now, where this map's showing is mostly in Modoc and into Siskiyou County, not to mention northern Shasta, Trinity County, and eastern portions of Del Norte and Humboldt counties. Not necessarily including down to the south here, but I still think there could be that potential for lightning strikes. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center, as you can see right here, has included pretty much all of the mountain locations surrounding the valley with that potential for dry lightning strikes. So that's something we've got to be on the lookout for as we go into the next 24, even 48 hours. Now, I'm going to show you the winds because the winds aren't necessarily an overall concern. Where we do expect to see the strongest winds are under the thunderstorms. So a lot of these, little pockets of wind are associated with thunderstorms that develop. And that'll be the case again going into your Wednesday. Now you'll notice some stronger winds working their way into the valley. That could elevate our fire weather risk, but they could also, if we see any thunderstorms developing in the valley on Wednesday, that could also produce some gusty winds. Humidity is still going to be rather low, especially in the valley down to 10%. But what we're noticing is the humidity going up just a little bit, simply because we do have some of that monsoon moisture working its way in, but still dry nonetheless. Now, this is coming in from the Storm Prediction Center, a bit of a broad brush. Don't expect to see much in the way, if any, thunderstorm activity in the valley, but there will be thunderstorms, for at least a chance for thunderstorms pretty much anywhere you go in the mountains, and possibly even the inland areas as well for the north coast. We take a look at your Wednesday, same story, right? And then by Thursday, I think we may be taking that out of the forecast here. So let's take a look at the big picture, big broad ridge of high pressure. That's the source of the heat that we're dealing with here. But what's undercutting that ridge is this area of low pressure right here. So the overall setup is this. We've got that low pressure basically down to our south-southwest. We've got high pressure over the Four Corners region. Now, what we've got set up now is your typical monsoon season that we're seeing in the desert Southwest. So it's that typical afternoon showers and thunderstorms that they see, the afternoon convection. You've got a lot of that subtropical moisture that works its way from the south into the desert Southwest, and that pretty much just parks itself there through most of the summer. What's going to happen is, and what has happened already today, is that counterclockwise flow around that low tapped into that monsoon moisture and then transported it to the north here, giving us those thunderstorms that we saw this afternoon. That low pressure will generally just kind of nudge itself off to the east. That will give us even better chances for thunderstorms as it taps into that monsoon moisture again on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, it's getting weaker, but it is still tapping into that monsoon moisture, and it could bring us more thunderstorms for some of the higher elevations once again on Wednesday. Then as that moves out, our chances do diminish. But as I mentioned, maybe places up to the north towards Siskiyou and Modoc County on Thursday could see a lingering thunderstorm, but otherwise I do expect those drier conditions for Friday through the weekend and even into next week. Yeah, and the monsoon moisture pretty much stays put over the desert Southwest. All right, so here's a look at Futurecast. Let's walk you through the timing of all this. All right, so here you can see tonight, You see that disturbance pushing through the valley? We could see a stray shower. I don't anticipate thunderstorms though. That makes its way into parts of Trinity County and even looks like parts of Siskiyou County as well. That disturbance then moves off to the north and west and has an impact on Trinity County and also the north coast. That's midday on Tuesday. We take you into Tuesday afternoon. Now we're seeing most of those thunderstorms popping up in the higher elevations. This is when we've got frequent lightning. We could be looking at severe thunderstorms when we're talking large hail, heavy amounts of rainfall, gusty winds over 50, 60 miles per hour. So these are things we're going to have to watch here with those outflow coming from those thunderstorms. Should a fire start, that could help spread it pretty rapidly. All right, then we take you into 6 p.m. Once again, we're seeing most of that activity in the mountains. Now you see a little pop-up here trying to make its way into the valley. It's not entirely out of the question. All right, so then we take you into tomorrow night. Things start to dry out. We get a bit of a break. And then we're going to see this all repeat again going into Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, it's dry. And then Wednesday afternoon, there are the thunderstorms popping up. Now, because that area of low pressure is starting to shift off to the east, that energy is also going to start to shift to the east as well. So when the thunderstorms develop in the mountains, they may roll down into the valley, and places in the valley could see a stray shower, maybe even an off chance for a thunderstorm on Wednesday. I'm not setting that in stone just yet, so be sure to watch tomorrow morning. And we'll have the latest on that, see if we have that potential for that activity. But just heads up, Wednesday could be the day that the valley may get caught up in a shower or maybe even a thunderstorm. But you can see most of it by Wednesday afternoon will be to the east into Lassen and parts of Modoc County as well. Let's talk about the temperatures because they've been fairly hot. But the thing is, we're going to be mainly near normal when we're talking temperatures. Now that's still hot. This is that time of the year. We're in summer, typically in the upper 90s in the valley, but at least we should, for the most part, dodge the triple digits once we get past Wednesday. You see the dip? There's the 4th of July. Look at that, down to the low 90s in the valley. Now they will creep back up after that, but most likely, right, see how the normals are around 97, 98? We're going to be hovering around that here, all the way past into Friday, through next weekend, and even into the next week, maybe another little bump towards the end of next week. But you get the idea. I mean, no major heat waves heading our way. It's going to be hot, your typical summer heat, but it's not going to be 110 or even 105. All right, so we take a look at the wave heights. You can see they are fairly high once again here as we go into Wednesday. And so you can see here they kind of back off, for Tuesday, and then they start to back off a little bit on Wednesday. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. We've got those temperatures mainly in the 90s for your daytime highs. There's the chance for thunderstorms both tomorrow and Wednesday, but those chances should diminish, and not to mention those temperatures will start to drop too as we approach Friday. Could see some isolated showers throughout the afternoon for the north coast, otherwise partly to mostly cloudy skies with temperatures in the low 60s for the next 7 days. Here's a look at the inland areas. Yeah, we could see some isolated activity, and maybe even Wednesday. I should probably include Wednesday as well. But otherwise, temperatures start to drop toward the end of the week and dry. Mid-80s by Friday, and then a slight bump up in our temperatures for the weekend. Siskiyou County, thunderstorms, maybe even a chance going into your Thursday as well, dropping down to 84 on Friday, back in the upper 80s, but dry for the weekend and into early next week. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Your temperatures are generally going to be in the 90s. Chance for thunderstorms, really looking at the thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, and possibly even Thursday. And for the eastern mountains, you've got that thunderstorm activity for Tuesday and Wednesday, most likely dry on Thursday, and then we're going to start to cool off a little bit for your Friday before warming back up here by the weekend and early next week. Now, as I mentioned, I don't have it in the 7-day forecast, but Wednesday will be the day if we see any showers or even a thunderstorm for parts of the valley, but still getting a bit hotter over the next few days, up to about 100 degrees or slightly higher through Wednesday. Temperatures drop down to 90 though by your 4th of July before going back up in the low to mid 90s for your weekend and even into early next week. We take you up to the north. 81 would be nice, wouldn't it? How about 101 for Redding on your Tuesday, 100 for Red Bluff, 101 for the city of Shasta Lake, and those mid 90s Now, we look at that 7-day forecast even for Reading, and you see temperatures are eventually dropping down to the upper 90s, that is, not 80s, 90s by Thursday, low 90s by Friday for your 4th of July, back in the mid to upper 90s for the weekend, and we could get right around or close to 100 degrees here by early next week. That's your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have a great night.
Construction season is well underway in the North State, and we'd like to remind drivers to slow down around work zones. Keep Caltrans workers safe when they're on the job, and remember to be work zone alert when you see the color orange. Remember to pay attention to signs, merge early, avoid distractions, and don't speed. This message is brought to you by Caltrans District 2.